Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another match preview. Slovan Bratislava against Manchester City. I'm not going to lie, I don't know a whole lot about our opposition, and I am well aware this is a very dodgy camera angle. Long story short, I have a new monitor. My webcam doesn't actually fit on top of it, so in the meantime, hopefully it's just this video. I've stuck a camera in the corner. And yeah, that's the story. It's not very interesting. The game, however, is very interesting because it's in a very, very, again, interesting place of which, given the opposition and, the type of game that it is away in the Champions League, you don't really view it as like a high stakes must win game. But with the fact that, of course, we drew our opening game in the Champions League and we are currently 1 win in 4, I believe, as well. It's kind of a must win, really, because you don't really want to be staring down the barrel of 2 games in of an 8-game Champions League league stage. You don't have a win, and you also don't want to be 1 win in 5. That's also not a very good thing to do. It's not something that we're very accustomed to either, so it's kind of weirdly a must win. Not that I really have any problems with that, given that, again, like I said, I don't know too much about our opposition, but I believe they last played Celtic in the Champions League and they got absolutely demolished. So, listen, I'll break down the game, give it a little bit of an overview, a team prediction, all that sort of thing. You'd do me a massive favour before I get into it. Please leave a like on this video, be massively appreciated, and subscribe if you are new. Hoping to get some streams sooner rather than later. If I was to guess, maybe around the international break or later on. I think for the next, obviously, couple of games up until the international break, it'll just be videos like this. But, keep your notifications on, subscribe. You never know. You never quite know when we'll be back. But again, like I said, Bratislava, I'm trying to, get up league position and things like that. But just going off of matches, they got panned 5-1. 5-1 by Celtic. At Celtic, so of course away. Again, Celtic's a difficult place to go. But it's a match that we should be looking to win. This is one of our, I believe they are a pot 4 team, maybe pot 3, I'm unsure. They're not in the top 2 pots though, so again, this is a match that we should be looking to win. We should be looking to score a few goals in terms of recent form from Bratislava that I'm looking at here. They just come off a 4-2 win. Before that, 6-1, before that, 2-1. So, battered by Celtic, but then put together a bit of a streak in terms of, players that are in Bratislava's squad. I'm going to be honest, I'm having a quick look through. I don't, particularly recognise any names. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just, I don't believe we've even played Bratislava before. If we have, it was a very, very long time ago, because I can't remember us playing Bratislava. So, I'm interested. To be honest, I'm very interested to see which way this game goes. In terms of looking at it from a City perspective, because, that I can talk about, we're in again, like I said, a peculiar place where we're not in panic stations. We're not playing, absolutely horrendous, but the streak is 1 win in 4. We beat Watford, but 3 draws apart from that, Inter, Arsenal and Newcastle. We're conceding goals that are just sloppy. We are missing a few chances. We're lacking creativity at times, which, isn't helped by the setup from teams that we are playing against. But, you can't do anything about that. Team selection has been baffling at times. Team selection, sub selection has been, again, strange. It's just been one of those periods where it looks like Pep is trying to figure something out, trying to figure out where he wants certain players to be and that sort of thing. So it's hard to really to be able to tell you what type of City is going to turn up. But I don't know. It depends on the team. Now, in terms of the team selection, if I just go over here and we'll hide that, there you go. That's my predicted 11. Again, it's kind of difficult to predict what Pep's going to do with the injuries that we have, because we saw, at Newcastle at the weekend, we saw Rico in midfield. Of course, we saw the flattest of midfield threes with Rico, Kovacic and Gundogan. Kyle Walker keeps, getting the nod, even though I don't think he should. Haven't seen too much of John Stones. Savio didn't play at the weekend, which again I thought was a strange one. It's just, it's a little bit odd. Again, it's almost like Pep's still trying to figure out what he's got, and that's kind of the stage that we're still in. But again, because we have to win this game, he's got to figure something out and maybe try something that is a bit more tried and tested. So in terms of this starting 11, again, John Stones being in there instead of Akanji, I think it's harsh, but if it was up to me, Akanji would probably play instead of Walker, but Walker's the captain. He seems to have the nod. There's this thing about Kyle Walker. I don't know whether I might do a video about it. I don't know, but to lay it down really quickly. Basically, it's, his performances haven't actually been, disastrous. He hasn't actually been the worst. It's just he keeps making mistakes. He keeps making those, individual errors in games which are costing us goals. And because he's costing us goals, it's just it doesn't matter how well he does. He just keeps making those mistakes. Arsenal, the corner, Watford, the goal we conceded there, the Newcastle penalty, played everyone on side. Like, it's a bit of a theme, really, that, he can actually play all right, but he just keeps making mistakes. And that's kind of the thing that's got me really on his case, is just he's just so error prone at the moment. He's involved in the goals, in the goals that we're conceding. At least he's always involved in some manner. There's always some involvement from him at the moment, and whether that's just bad luck, I really can't. I don't think you can say bad luck, because he was doing the same thing last season as well. He's kind of continued on. So, but again, he's captain. He seems to be one of the first names on the team sheet, so you can't really drop him. In terms of the rest of the back four, again, I think Akanji's harsh to miss out, but John Stones needs minutes somewhere, man. And we've got to find a way to stop conceding sloppy goals. And if that means that we're going to have to chop and change a little bit of the back four, then so be it. Same thing with midfield. We didn't have any creativity whatsoever against Newcastle. We didn't. And I think most people probably knew that would be the case before the ball was even kicked, just from the selection. Especially, paired with the winger selection, there was just little creativity in the team, to be honest. So again, that's something that needs sorting out. And I'm looking at this, there's no press conference yet for me. If Kevin De Bruyne is still out injured, which I think he will be, I think the most likely case is that he's still unavailable, then Phil Foden simply has to start this game. I don't know why he didn't against Newcastle, and we paid the price for it, because we had no creativity against Newcastle. And then when Phil Foden actually came on in the second half, things started happening. We started moving the ball about quicker, getting into more dangerous areas, looking more like a threat. I think Newcastle actually sat back a little bit more when we brought Foden on, especially when we brought on the two wingers in Doku and Savio. When they came on, Newcastle were kind of just, happy enough to sit there and go on, break us down. So realistically, we need some creativity in the team, because Haaland had no service against Newcastle. I'm not surprised he didn't score. He didn't have any service, because not only was he being, man-marked by, two players most times throughout the game. Newcastle are a physical side, so of course it's going to be difficult for him. But there was no service. There was no player providing any service for him. So if Kevin De Bruyne is out, Phil Foden has to play. He has to start playing, because we need to create more opportunities. It's that simple. When we're playing against a low block 9 out of 10 times, you can't afford to have just a flat midfield three of like 4 number 8s playing at once. It's not going to work. You're not going to get enough going forward from it. So in terms of the midfield, I just think, again, we're in the stage where until we figure something out in sort of, when you get to January, February, when Pep stops fiddling about and he starts to find something that he falls back on, we're just probably going to see chop and change from, most of the team for most weeks. There's always going to be, sort of 2, 3, 4 changes to the team when we can make them, because he's still just trying to figure out what we've got. And the same thing for the midfield. I just think that it's probably never going to be a solid foundation for a while until he figures out, how to replace Rodri. How do you balance the midfield? That sort of thing. What sort of system you're going to play? All those questions of, do you have someone coming up from the defence? Do you have a double pivot? Do you have just one sitting there? Do you have, basically 2 number 10s? All those sorts of things. Until he's figured that out, probably going to see it chop and change. And same thing for the front three. I think this front three should be the front three that we rock with for the foreseeable. I don't see a reason to change it. Doku hasn't really impressed in the chances that he's got. I know he scored against Watford, but in terms of just around that. Came on against Newcastle, not a lot of time, but didn't do much. Against Arsenal, he didn't do much. Didn't really have too much of the ball, but again, not effective with it. And when Grealish has been in, Grealish did more in sort of the 20 minutes that he was on against Arsenal than Doku did. Grealish did really well against Newcastle in the time that he was on the pitch. And he's, shown flashes and kind of got back to that form that he was in a couple of years ago when we won the treble. So he should stay in. Savio, again, no idea why he was dropped for Newcastle. I think it was stupid. To be quite honest with you, I thought it was silly to put Bernardo out there. I think Bernardo on the right needs to stop. We've got Doku who could play out there. We've got Savio who could play out there. You're not using Foden. You could probably use him out there better than Bernardo. So you got options. We need to stop using Bernardo out there. It's probably done. Especially with the urgent need of trying to find a midfield solution. Just stop it. But Savio should play when he's fit because he's really, really, really impressed. I know he doesn't have his goal yet. He's come close a couple of times, but he's always looking to make things happen. And he's one player who, throughout our trying, can actually cross a ball. Maybe his right foot delivery needs to be a little bit worked on, but, who cares? He's still putting it in decent positions, and that service that, again, we're trying to find Haaland, having someone in a wide area who can cross a ball. I know it's a little bit awkward because, most of the time he's having to check back onto his left to cross it. But having someone who can, find someone in the box from across, I don't think Doku's particularly good at it. Grealish as well, he needs to check back onto his right. And, sometimes he can be a bit slower to release the ball, which is by design because sometimes he waits and passes it sort of 5 yards, gets, Gvardiol into position like Gvardiol was in at the weekend to score. That's by design. But in terms of someone like Savio, who can just, check back and put one in and it'll be fairly on target. And again, we're trying to get Haaland into the game. We didn't against Newcastle. We didn't really against Arsenal, although it was incredibly difficult. Same thing with Inter. It was just so difficult to get him in the game. So, I don't really blame us there, but in terms of Newcastle, we could have done a lot better. Personnel that should have been on the pitch just weren't, and that falls down to Pep. And listen, that's kind of the premise of this video is Pep's got to get this right. I said at the start, this is a must-win given the circumstances more than anything else. 1 win in 4, and we didn't win our first group game at home, so this is a must-win game, and Pep's got to get his team right because at the weekend against Newcastle, he didn't. And that's just factually correct. He didn't get his team right. I don't think he got his subs right either. But if they pay off, everyone's going, "Oh wow, Pep's a genius." So I don't really blame him too much for that. But in terms of team selection, he's got to get it right. Simple as that. In terms of score prediction for this game, let me know yours down in the comment section below. I'm gonna go for a 3-0. It's about time we kept a clean sheet. It's desperately needed. Our record of keeping clean sheets this season has already been dodgy. And it's something that, as of late, we're used to not having clean sheets, which is a problem because if you're going into games thinking that we're guaranteed to concede, you might as well just go into games with the thinking of you're already 1-0 down because a goal will come. And that's not something that we should be doing, that we should have to do either. And it's just so negative to go in with that frame of mind, but you have to at the moment because again, even Watford managed to get a goal, probably could have got a second goal. So something needs to happen there. Clean sheet, do us the world of good going into Fulham, and then of course another international break for whatever reason. But that's my match preview. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you do me a massive favour on your way out, please leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are new. On the road to 10k. And one of us will see you post-match for a reaction.